Update. Mr. Ramesh.
Yes.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, Councillors. This agenda item is basically for the purpose of to update the Council on the status of Bolsha Park water supply and to confirm the next steps. This agenda item is presented to the Council to take as a read. And if you want, I would like to go through the executive summary and ask answers to the question if you have any.
Any questions of Ramesh?
I'd like to hear what you have to say, then I may have some questions to follow that up.
Sorry?
I would like to hear what you have to say. For instance, in the budget, there's been quite an upsurge in the initial budget expenditure from, which is covered on 3 bar 20, and the comment about not all the residents have been spoken to or advised. But there are a couple of other issues as well.
Okay. I think the best is I'll just go through the brief summary so that everybody is on the same page. See, Bolsha Park is a small community with 67 properties that are connected to council supply schemes. The water is normally self-funded within our district, and scheme costs are covered by the combination of target rate and metered rate for this rural supply scheme. The source of water is from bores within the community. There were 3 bores, however, 1 bore has failed and 1 has been abandoned, and 1 has a declining production. In summer, the community relies on both remaining bores to meet the water demand. Therefore, there is a risk that if either one bore fails, there is a further decline in the water production from the bore, so that could be a water shortage issue. Being a rural community, because they must be having a cattle and herds there, while the system is currently providing sufficient water to the community, and there is no immediate short-term risk, there is a sufficient risk to warrant the development of another source to the council ensures the security of supply. The previous consultation with the Bolsha Park residents presented options to provide secure water supply and meet the drinking water standards. Based on this feedback from the community, a decision was made to drill a new bore and maintain the system. A new bore has been drilled but has also been abandoned due to very high arsenic levels in the water, significantly higher than the existing bore. Till date, we have spent $61,300 to develop this bore. The options are now to either drill a new bore in a new location or go back to the community with other options, including having more reliance on private roof water supplies. The preferred option is developing a new bore. There is sufficient budget available to allow this to be completed, though there were no further contingency available to cover the cost of another failed attempt. The capital budget allowed is still in line with the value presented to the community. During this consultation phase, the community were previously strongly in favor of drilling a new bore. 82% were in support of drilling a new bore, and the situation has not changed significantly to go back to community at this stage.
Thanks, Ramesh. So what you're asking here today is whether you want us to support the drilling of another bore?
Yeah.
Okay, we've read the rest of the items, so that's okay. We've got some specific queries from Councillor Boddy.
Oh, sorry, thank you, Ramesh. I'm just not quite sure why this is an agenda item. It's covered in the CEO's report, and
yeah, so I think it's a project update, and it seems to be a perennial that comes up all the time. So
Yeah.
I think what you're trying to do here is just give us an update that you can have a go for another bore, but you can't guarantee it.
Yeah, because there is a dilemma, there's a dilemma. We have already spent $61,000 on behalf of community, and we are trying to go for another attempt, though there is a budget available. So we have made arrangement with the contractor with the, cost sharing, basis. We know there is a well-drilled proposal. We are negotiating the terms and conditions so that, I don't want to spend money, because if I'm again failing with spending $61,000, facing embarrassment, because there's a risk of drilling a bore, especially to that area where it's a very geothermal. So
thank you. That's exactly the information I was looking for. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that. Councillor Krotowski.
Thank you for that. But just help me to understand the figures that you have on 10/5 versus the figures that are shown on 3/20.
Ramesh will have that 3/20.
Help me to understand the differences, please.
See, basically, just without looking at these numbers off top of my head, what I can tell you, initially when we identified there is a serious risk of water table going down or the bores are collapsing, so we had a minimum renewal budget to maintain the bore or do the minimum maintenance to the bore. And that renewal money was spent as a part of preventative maintenance as well as renewals to maintain the casing. And then there was a budget allowed to drill another bore with the consultation of the community. So the cost may not be, there will be some difference on it, but if you need details explanation, I can get you financial data and send you later.
What you're just asking, Councillor Bernard, that the budget is 294 on 3/20, and there's a different budget on 3/5.
I just can't quite correlate.
Yeah, but through the chair, the 228 plus the 66 makes the 294.
So it's the remaining budget available was the 22.
And the month before it was 194, so it's going up 100 grand. To just make the point on this particular issue, there's a number of comments made in the document about houses going to solely tank water. We've got to remember it's a rural area and 90% of the water is stock water, not household consumption. So that option is out.
So I think that's what we are recommending, to drill another bore and just seek approval from council that the project updated on this project is going on for a year, and we have been trialing out to different depth and the different experience of the bore driller. We have used the best experienced person and by peer reviewed by Waikato Regional Councils, and so he has come out with a party saying that to get a success we have to if we are failing, he will just charge us minimum as cost, otherwise we have to pay the equal amount whatever we paid for developing the past bore. That's the option. We are still negotiating the conditions, and I think I'll tighten it best what we can do for the community.
Through the chair, the purpose of this paper was just to give you an update. We have spent half the money, it was unsuccessful. If the second bore was unsuccessful, we've got a bigger issue. That's basically where we're at, and it's only fair that you are up to speed with the situation.
So the experts say you can't guarantee the second bore is going to be successful.
No.
Nobody can guarantee, even bore driller cannot guarantee.
There's a risk.
Yeah.
There's a risk.
And we can't can the project altogether.
You'd have to come up with an alternative.
Alternative is, just I think as I discussed in the options there, if we can go back to community to go back on the roof water, as Councillor Buddy says, it's a rural community based on stock, how much they will be dependent on roof water. Some may have, some may not have, then they will ask funding from council, so it becomes more complex and complex.
You say this drilling firm's been peer reviewed by environmental.
Yeah, so we are looking for the best.
Not the experts doing it.
Yes.
Not the experts.
Answer is yes.
And one, Mr. Chairman, to do with cold water is not really an issue because most of the water up there, if not all of it, goes into tanks first.
The last bore we drilled was very cold water. It was very cold water, yeah. But unfortunately, when we go to the depth, we ended up with having more arsenic. So I think that was briefly explained in the report. But we tried our best to be successful, but that's the unfortunate part.
Okay, thank you, Ramesh, for giving us an update on that. I think we just have to continue on by the sound of it. Do I have a mover for the receive the information on Montreux Park? Thank you, Councillor Jollings. Seconded by Councillor Williamson. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. It's against, carried. Item number 11, Rifle Range Road water main replacement.
It's again me.
You again, Ramesh?
Yes. So
okay, we'll take this as read because I think everyone's read it and seen the damage that's been caused at least 3 breakages in the last,
We had 4 this year,
4 this
2
year?
in the same location,
Yes.
and both are on the left and right hand side of my house. I thought it is signaling me something, Ramesh, you're walking every day, you have to take care. And
I guess my other question was, like, these were put down in 1958 or something?
yes,
Yeah, so, like, they were due to be renewed anyway,
next year, it
Next
was
year.
scheduled next year.
so was that the normal lifespan of a
50 years.
50 years? Yeah.
Actually, that's a different topic, I think, but if you
Yeah.
like, I can share because...
No, that's right.
That's a-
Through the Chair. So what we're saying is we're going to bring, this is already budgeted for next year's part of our renewal, so all we're doing is bring it back this year and paying it ahead of time.
Yes,
Is that right?
yeah.
And just in case anyone's worried, I understand from Greg and Turangi that most of our water pipes are asbestos, so that's a real no concern.
Turangi is also in under renewal plans. We're doing a lot of condition assessment and the smart analysis is on. We want to do the value for money and we can't spend and renew all the pipe together, so we're just prioritizing and staging it.
I'd like to move the recommended resolution.
Yes, I have a couple of questions.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
No.
So it's been moved and seconded, but we have questions. Thank
Sorry,
you.
I
Councillor
wasn't
Jollins?
quick enough today. Just a point of clarification, because it's unbudgeted expenditure, will we be deferring something else that's on our renewal schedule so that we're covered on budget for this financial year? Because we're only 6 months into this financial year. If we were on month 11, I might say, I might feel more comfortable about unexpected expenditures such as this, but halfway through the year with the renewal schedule, can we defer something in this year to next financial so that we can cover this and balance the books?
We have mentioned to councillors before that there are events that occur that we need to address, and this is one of those events. We're talking here capital expenditure, which we, as we say in the paper, will be bringing a tender to council in the February council meeting. So the actual expenditure itself will not be occurring probably until the last quarter of the financial year, even though it's...
It's only
Perhaps
interest.
tender February. Probably our first invoice we'll be needing to pay will be May, June anyway, won't it?
Yeah.
So it's, when you said in that last quarter you'd be quite... If you're comfortable, by the time the first invoice comes in, it'll be around that next,
And I guess
the June cut-off.
I guess adding to that, it's also capital expenditure, so it'll only be the interest cost between then and the end of the year that council, the additional
I'm
cost for
just
council.
thinking about cash flows and what's
Yeah.
sitting in your renewals budget and what are the opportunities to smooth out those pressures. And just talking about pressures, obviously looking at the location of that water main, and I'm not an engineer, but we've got our water treatment plant close by. Do we need to look at any of the other pipes in this area that are potentially at risk? Will you be coming to us in the next 6 months and this issue in this area?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I have started already the network modeling for those pipes from 1958, which has registered a reasonably good number of life, but we have gone through those reviews and we are staging them. And as you see, there is a good planned renewal is in place for targeting those areas in Taupo, Turangi and Mangakino as well.
Great.
Mr. Chairman, we're not borrowing the money, are we? So does it come from the depreciation reserves or is it borrowed? If it's borrowed, it just adds to the debt?
It will be borrowed, but we were going to be borrowing it next year at any rate.
It's part of the renewals?
As part of the...
So where does the depreciation sit in with this?
The depreciation will be part funding it, yes, but the difference will be loan funded, and I can't tell you what the exact split is at this particular point of time.
So one of the arguments we put forward in regards of asset renewal is we have to depreciate, and that money goes into the depreciation account. Why is it always there's not enough to cover an event?
Well, if an asset costs, for example, $200 originally and has now been depreciated to zero,
Depreciation is zero.
and the replacement cost is greater than what was the value of the asset in the books, then the depreciation account will not be suffice to fund the new asset.
Through the Chair, does also the point, aren't assets renewed every 3 years? So wouldn't they have some bearing on the overall asset?
The revaluation
yeah.
every 3 years. Yeah, so it depends on your timing and your 3-year cycle. And as we've seen with the valuation of roading that we've just gone through, it goes up and down, like roading dropped this time. But who's to say that if a road needed to be replaced in 2 years' time, the price isn't substantially higher than what the valuation was?
Okay, thank you. It's been moved by Councillor Cousins, seconded by Councillor Park. Get underway and go out to tender. So all those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Against? Carried.